Tonight, we all know what it's like to go by an unusual building and say, you know, gee, I'd love to see the inside of that place.
There are a lot of buildings in Maine that pique our interest in that way, and it's always fun when we can actually open the door to one and satisfy our curiosity. The Great Fire of 1866 left much of downtown Portland a charred wasteland. But a new city quickly began to emerge from the ashes, and 1 year later, in 1867, construction started on what would become one of the most impressive buildings in the state, the U.S. Custom House.
In its heyday, this building was the third or fourth busiest customs house in the United States. It tells you a lot about the size of Portland and how important Portland was in the past.
This is where federal employees collected customs duties from ships bringing goods into Portland Harbor. In the 1800s and early 1900s, before the U.S. had an income tax, these duties were a major source of federal revenue, and this place would have been bustling.
Absolutely. This was the epicenter of downtown. This was the first impression that many people from around the world got of Portland when they arrived here.
Countless Mainers and tourists have passed by this building and wondered what it was, yet have never been inside. Here's what they're missing. What do you still feel after the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that you've walked into this room? What do you still feel when you come in here?
A sense of awe and appreciation.
The federal government owns the Custom House, and several agencies have office space here: Homeland Security, the Small Business Administration, and more. Rafi Dersimonian doesn't work for the government. He runs his own marketing and PR firm, but his office is in this building, and it's not exactly a corporate cubicle. If I had this for my office, the only way I'd be taken out of here would be in a pine box.
You know, I would be perfectly happy working the rest of my career out of this building.
Jeff Porter does work for the federal government, promoting trade and exports in an office that is so spacious and so filled with sunlight that he grows vegetables.
Those are tomatoes. These are pole beans, and if you look closely, you got some cukes here.
The brass doorknobs, the old fireplace. Look around and you can't help but think, they don't make them like this anymore. No disrespect, but you're not the most important person in the federal workforce in Maine. And you have maybe the best office of anyone in the federal workforce in Maine?
I would agree. I would absolutely agree with that. I have joked with Angus before that apparently we got the jobs mixed up. Certainly got the offices mixed up.
But the majesty of the building really comes through in the Grand Customs Hall. This is where the money was actually collected. Back in the day, there would have been dozens of clerks and other employees in here who were doing the work that needed to be done? Absolutely,
and what you would have seen here, there would have been mahogany bank teller windows. This would have looked a lot like a bank.
In the center of the hall, an 8-foot-high, 4-sided clock, and below it, an octagonal writing surface.
There would have been quill pens, there would have been inkwell up here, and you would have filled out your manifest. And that would have told the customs agents what was on the ships.
Customs agents would have gone over the paperwork, then boarded the ships to see if the vessel's representatives had accurately reported what they had for cargo.
People cheated on taxes back then. The difference was they cheated on them in a different way. Ships' captains snuck into harbors and offloaded their goods, or they underreported what was on their ship.
The details in this building are extraordinary. Take the arches above the windows. They're 22-karat gold leaf, decorated with shapes of eggs that symbolize life, and darts or spear tips that symbolize death. Why was it built in such magnificent fashion?
There were more polite people than I that will describe it differently. I'll describe it as it was a great bluff. We were convincing the rest of the world that we were wealthy and powerful. And if you go into any customs house or building built in that 30 to 60 year period, they were all incredibly grand.
Jeff Porter and Rafi Dirsimonian aren't responsible in any official way for operating or maintaining the Custom House, but they are passionate about the building, and they want people to see it. So even though the building's not open to the public, and it's not part of his job, Porter figures he gives at least one tour a day.
I believe I've been given a gift by having my office relocated here, so if I can, take 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day and give somebody a tour, I do.
You really feel a sense of stewardship for this building, don't you?
I do. I have no stewardship. I have no responsibility other than I love history and I love the building.
The best building I've ever worked in.
Gail Sacker used to be here every day when she worked for Customs and Border Protection.
I get the sense that you don't want to return to the workforce, but you miss the building.
I do. That's why I love being in here now. I haven't been here for 15 years. It's great. I'm glad to be back.
Maintaining a grand old building is expensive, and with only about 40 people working here, not all of them all of the time, the question inevitably arises.
What is the future of this building?
This building will remain a landmark and a place of deep cultural significance to not only the people of Portland, but to the people of Maine.
That's a nice thought, but some custom houses around the country have been sold, including one in Boston, which is now a Marriott hotel.
I think the future, medium term, I think we're okay, but you never know. You just never know. I mean, how many federal workers or how many workers are working in their office anymore?
There's a saying, what people love, they preserve. The hope is that by opening up the Custom House so that more people can see it, it will be around and open for a long time to come.
Have you ever been inside?
I have not.
No?
But it's like a time capsule.
Yeah, you've worked less than a mile away from it for more than a
Seriously?
decade, and you've never been inside, which
I'm
is such
so
a typical story.
Embarrassed. Yes.
No, don't be embarrassed. Don't be
But-
embarrassed.
but
This
it's-
is the way it is.
I know, but it's one of those places where as soon as you see it, you can't take your eyes off of it, and you just want to learn more about it. So no, now I want to get inside there for myself.
Yeah, all right. So, although the Custom House is not open to the public, the Grand Hall can be rented for private events.
Hey.
There are some restrictions because it's a government building. Political events are not allowed, and neither are religious ceremonies, which means no weddings, but you can rent the space for wedding receptions.
Ah, that would be really nice photos, especially from up top there. Yeah. One other note, the nonprofit Greater Portland Landmarks occasionally offers tours of the Custom House. You could find more information on all of those things in the 207 section of our website or our app.